We're live.
We are live. I have now got the kale and quinoa out of my teeth from lunch, so we can start. I am Paul Wicker.
And I'm JD Prater.
And today is November 2nd, and these are your top 8 PPC headlines from this week. Number 1, Facebook reported their earnings numbers. Surprise, surprise, they're doing phenomenally well.
Really well.
Making the billions. Their total revenue was up. It is now $10.33 billion, which is up 47%. Most of that's mobile, I think 88%, which is not a surprise. And that's a 57% increase from a year ago, quarter over quarter. So moral of the story is everything's mobile. And I think the 57% year over year increase is shows how dramatically things have shifted, which is no surprise. And then their MAUs, monthly active users, are also up 16%. So they're now over 2 billion monthly active users on Facebook properties, which is incredible that as a mature company like them, like Facebook, they're still growing at quite a fast clip.
Huge. I'm interested to see how this Russia scandal will play out and if it's going to hurt or affect certain things. I'll give you an example. So I'm in a Facebook group, and a couple of people were complaining around the B2B targeting, right? So as a response from Facebook, they got rid of targeted by employer. Can't do that anymore, right? And so everyone's like, no, I have to go use LinkedIn again. It's so expensive. So yeah, and then with the whole Russia thing, now they're doing the more transparency, right? So no more dark posts, as we saw last week. So I'm interested in the next 6 months.
Yeah, we covered that quickly last week. It's kind of a big deal. No more dark posts.
It's a really big deal
on Facebook. So everything you now kind of advertise on Facebook, people can see.
Yeah,
is the general direction Facebook's moving. So for most of us, that's no big deal. And our ads don't have nefarious things in them. But now know that any ad you run targeted in any group could be seen by anyone if they really want to. LinkedIn, we should mention, because you just mentioned it.
Sure.
They did something, but I forgot.
So Microsoft acquired them. We all know this.
Right.
And they integrated more with Outlook. So I think this is, for the advertisers out there, I think this is mostly like it's getting there where they're going to do more LinkedIn and Outlook integrations. I think this is the first step into it, to where if you're in Outlook and your contact emails you can see their LinkedIn profile, and what they're kind of, maybe, I forgot everything else, but I think mostly the LinkedIn profile is the biggest thing. I don't know if you can see what they're sharing, but
you can see, you open the Office profile card, which we're all familiar with, which highlights things like mutual connections or shared work experiences, and you can click to connect right from Outlook. I'm just amazed people use Outlook. I didn't know people used Outlook anymore, but no offense if you do. I used to love Outlook back in the day before Gmail. Oh, here's a pro tip. If you loved Outlook, you move to Gmail, but you miss offline version. There is an offline Gmail mode. So you can just Google it, and then it's kind of hard to get to, but you can set it up. And then if you're going to get on a flight and you want to pay for Wi-Fi, or you have a spotty connection, or Wi-Fi goes down at work and you want to just tether to your phone, download your email, and then work for a few hours, you can do that. Pro tip.
I did it to work on like to be in Drive. I'll do it. I'll set certain docs to offline
mode.
Yeah, it's great. Anyway, I digress.
Facebook did have another story though about creative options for travel. So this one's kind of a big one. I didn't entirely get all this. I know that, so I went to the Facebook conference about 3 weeks ago for their developer conference, and they talked a lot about dynamic ads. So their strategy is not just to have dynamic ads, but they want to have dynamic ads for all these different verticals. So dynamic ads for travel, which is for flights and hotels. Right. And I think they're working on dynamic ads for auto right now. So if you're an auto agency doing a lot of auto dealerships, they're going to now roll that out. That might be a secret. Whoops. So you didn't hear it here. But that's their strategy. They're making it very clear they didn't want a generic product, but they want to go very deep with these like vertical products.
Yeah.
But what do you actually get that's new?
Okay, so they rolled this out. We knew that they rolled this out. It's about maybe a year ago, sometime in 2016. But I think the newest part is moving your dynamic ads upstream, right? So it's no longer, I'm going to show you a dynamic ad based off what you saw on my website, which I think is still really cool.
Right, so retargeting.
thousands and thousands, of ads that could possibly be curated. You can now say, hey, I want to target people who are interested in going or booking a travel in the next 6 months, maybe, or used a travel app, something like that, right? So you're just trying to get people to use your booking system or your travel site. And I think it's pretty smart. So yeah, I'll be pretty interested to see how that works. And then the other part was using their collections. So those are really cool. I actually really like these.
Those are the swipey ones where you get cards. I mean, Google has the same feature more or less.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like them. I think those are really nice. As an ad unit and as a user in Facebook, I like that I can see multiple products, and I think they would play well into this. I've seen mostly fashion. I've seen a couple REI, for example, of course, outdoor stuff. And so it's hey, look at me. I'm out on a mountain, and then here's what I'm wearing. Here's the bag. Here's the shoes. Here's the shirt. And you kind of play it through it. But
sometimes I want to get into retail just so I can run cool Facebook ads. Is that wrong? I want to start a clothing brand just so I can run a canvas ad, a really cool canvas ad, and do some dynamic ads with some cool creative.
Yeah. Well, got to give a quick shout out. Did you watch the World Series last night?
I did. I was in LA for a few days.
Yeah.
Unintentionally during the World Series. I watched not yesterday's, but the 3 previous games, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Went out, everybody's all crazy. And I came back here for Game 7, went with a coworker of ours, Andrew, who's from LA, a big Dodgers fan, and then they just got obliterated.
Well, during this World Series, they released a trailer for the latest Star Wars video. Did you catch it?
I did not, but I heard that happened. From you.
From me, but this is mostly for Joe Martinez. I had to give a quick shout out for something Star Wars related. That's about as good as it's going to get. I saw the trailer. It looks pretty cool, but I don't know all the nuances. So Joe, feel free to chime in. You can comment, chat, tweet us, whatever. And you can make fun of us for not knowing anything about Star Wars. Because
I know things.
Oh, yeah?
I made some jokes on Twitter about Star Wars at one point. That were pretty funny. I mean, I know the old school, 4, 5, 6, know them pretty well. The new ones, I get confused. I'm an old man now. Who are all these kids running around? They all look the same. I didn't know Force Awakens was the first new one, right? Well, we all ignore 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
But the new one was Force Awakens, right? And then
This is The Last Jedi.
Well, what's the one before this one? There was the first one that came out, and I think that was Force Awakens, and then there was the first one of this new trilogy, right, which is 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
I didn't know that new one wasn't in the sequence.
No.
That's 4. We are butchering this.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
This whole Star Wars genre.
Just move on.
Okay, so Instagram now has twice the size, the story kind of call outs on your Instagram homepage. Instead of just a tiny circle or cards, they look more like Snapchat.
Yeah.
If you're in that explore page, I think it's called, in Snapchat, you see big square tiles. Instagram did that. Also, a coworker of ours who was an avid Snapchatter tweeted recently that, I went from seeing stories all the time from all my friends to never seeing anyone on Snapchat. And she's in her mid-20s, so I think that demographic too is leaving Instagram. My demographic for sure, the over 30s.
Yeah.
Because we're on the edge of that demographic. Most of them are still on Facebook and what's the stories thing? They don't even know what Snapchat is. So Facebook already owns plus 30s. Now if they get plus 20s, Snapchat is just basically middle school and high school kids.
Yeah. The Instagram stuff is basically what she said. She's no one's on Snapchat. Everyone's moved over to Instagram.
Right. And she speaks, her name's Margot. She speaks for everyone between the age of 20 and 29, apparently.
Yeah, she does, 100%.
So,
but also with Snapchat, moving over.
Oh, there's more.
Snap Pixel.
Right.
Snap. Love it with the Snap Pixel.
Are you going to do that every time?
Yeah. Snap.
Pixels, so they have a pixel. We all know what pixels are because we've been doing conversion tracking for a billion years. They all do this, right? Every network's this is not the best way to measure success on our network and blah, blah, blah. And then a year later, they're we've rolled out conversion tracking.
Yeah.
LinkedIn did the same. They dragged their feet for 3 years. Usually it's because they don't want to be measured the wrong way, which means they know they're not going to have the same number of conversions as Google or Facebook possibly now. It used to be Google. I remember when Facebook first started, when I was at a different company, they didn't want us to put Facebook data alongside Google data in reports.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't report on conversions because they didn't want to be compared to search. So I think every network does this. It's their turn to add a pixel, more or less.
Yeah, I think it's also kind of like this move of like marketers like wanting to measure everything and measure beyond impression and reach and clicks. It's like we need deeper funnel metrics. I think there's definitely a shift in that, and I think a lot of the networks, you look at Facebook's offline conversions, like beyond the pixel, you give us conversions and we match them up. So there's definitely a movement, going to deeper metrics.
And I will say, we watched LinkedIn roll this out. It takes time to build trust with your pixel, right?
Yeah.
In the beginning, the first year or two, people don't trust it. They're not sure if it's firing correctly. There's look back windows, there's attribution, there's a lot of complexity in it. There's, not just measuring when people land on a page, but when certain like links are fired. So people want a lot of complexity with conversion tracking. So they haven't done any of that yet. In fact, you can't even use the conversions for like optimization yet. You just basically get a report that shows you conversions. Because why is it? I mean, LinkedIn did the same thing. You still can't do conversion-based optimization, I think, right? Yeah, you can't do that yet.
Yeah.
But, word is they're working on it.
Yeah.
So we expect the same with Snapchat. Will take them. If they don't go out of business from Instagram, we expect them to add that stuff in the future.
Yeah, that's a tough spot to be in. I would be dumping that stock.
We are stock professionals, so take our advice.
You heard it from me.
Speaking of shopping stuff,
yeah,
AdWords has new showcase shopping ads. The big news is that, these have been around now in the US, but they're now rolling them out to all the countries.
Yep.
All the countries, maybe not all, but more countries to hit in time for the holiday season.
They're pretty slick. I'm really surprised that they waited until basically November to roll this out, because we all know Q4 is huge when it comes to shopping. We got Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Small Business Saturday, what is it, Tuesday Giving?
Taco Tuesday. Oh, right.
It's always Taco Tuesday. And then you've got, of course, Christmas as another big gift.
Heard of that one?
Heard of it.
Heard of that big day.
Yeah, I'm really surprised they waited so long, but looking through their examples of the ads, they look pretty slick. So again, it looks very similar to like a Facebook collection ad, what we were just talking about, but now it lives within the Google kind of search. So if you're searching for something, you'll click on it and it opens up into a full screen experience. So again, going full screen immersive, multiple products.
Yeah, in some ways, this reminds me of the Snapchat Pixel conversation, because it's funny we call it a pixel still, right? From the old tracking days when literally there were pixels on a display on the screen, and that's how you tracked. If that pixel showed up, that meant your display ad was seen. And then they kind of said, well, you don't really need to render a pixel. We can just tell when a pixel, somebody called to serve it. But it's funny we still call pixel tracking, even though the pixel's gone. But anyway, that's one thing. The other thing I was going to say is, introducing conversion tracking on websites also feels very kind of like last year. At this point, it's about offline conversions, getting conversion data out of CRM systems and point of sale systems and other acronyms, or getting purchases to happen directly in the application. So in Snapchat, in Facebook, in Google, they're trying to drive more of the conversions in the app. So you don't have to go to some maybe crappy website or, have a crappy experience. But it did feel like that's where we were going as an industry, and websites were going to die. But now it seems like, just kidding. Snapchat and Instagram don't really want to let you link to websites, but they kind of caved, and now you can link to websites. So I think maybe we're back to saying websites are a good place to convert.
Yeah, it's true. I think, we can get in. I'd love to, we can, a whole different industry of publishers. I really think the publishers are also pushing them in that regard as well. I think publishers are I'm tired of giving you and you owning my audience.
Oh, so Facebook Instant Articles and Google AMP.
Right.
AMP is
AMP,
still your website.
They're more okay with AMP. Yeah. But Instant Articles, they're nah, man, I'm not getting enough revenue. It's a lot of work. I still need to drive people back, to my site so I can get all of those ad impressions.
And capture that user so I could put them in my audience targeting.
Also true.
It does remind me of Medium too, because Medium, we all have that same battle. If you run blog or content, you've thought, should I be posting all my content on Medium? But then they kind of own the customer, and then Medium went to paid subscriptions only, and now they're kind of in this gray area where no one knows, are they going to survive or not? So I think everybody stopped relying on Medium, but it's a familiar argument. Last story.
Cool. Let's see. We have Amazon. Oh yeah, Bing. Hold on, quickly.
Oh, there's two stories.
Let's go to that. So keep doing that. I'm going to quickly. DSAs are now available in Bing Ads Editor. That is the update. Fantastic. They're an editor. Go have fun with your DSAs. Let's move on to the fun one.
The fun one is, if you're watching this on Facebook Live and pretending that I'm using my phone for augmented reality, which I'm not because it's an Android and it's only available on Apple.
That's right, because it's the best.
We're going to do that. So Apple versus Android.
I can get it into my phone.
That's true. We'll use your inferior phone later. You probably can't even do the iOS update because it'll just brick your phone, right? You need to buy an X. So two things. One, Apple, in their new big iOS 11 update and their Apple X and all that crap, they have ARKit, which is the framework they've rolled out to let people create AR experiences on iPhone and iPad. And Amazon rolled out a shopping experience using this technology. So a nice kind of business development play by Apple and Amazon to roll this out jointly. Well, timed well. So people go get their new X and then they could use this new feature from Amazon, because I bet there's not a lot of AR apps built quite yet. And it's just a silly app. You pick some products and then you hold up your phone and you can see the product as if it's sitting on the shelf or it's on your dresser, and you can change the color.
Oh, look at this. I want this coffee pot. But would this coffee pot look cool? And you just, it's interesting. I think it's a better use of augmented reality than some I've seen.
Right. I want this Boba Fett statue to be on the table right over there.
Nice.
Yeah. See, I can do Star Wars references.
It's a really good one. You really snuck that one in.
I think that's good. I really am very much sold on AR. I was taught, that's the end of your headlines. Now I'm going to digress. So if you don't care about things not related to marketing, thanks for joining. And make sure you go to blog.adstage.io, sign up so you can get all these articles in your weekly inbox and learn more about, marketing stuff. I had dinner with a director of an independent movie, which name I cannot remember, but it's going to be at the, they won the Los Angeles Film Festival category for something.
Okay.
And he basically did this whole independent movie on his own. He's been in the business, as they say in LA, for 20 years, rewriting scripts for the big studio houses. So he knows how to write scripts. So he wrote his own, and then he produced it. His wife's a casting director, and they ended up getting A-list talent. They got the girl who is in the movie that just came out, which was a remake of the 80s hit
La La Land.
The Robot's Dream of Electric Sheep, Philip K. Dick book. They made it into a movie. The old one had Harrison Ford.
Oh, Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
There it is.
So I guess the woman in Blade Runner is in his movie. So
I haven't seen the new one yet.
Me neither.
Okay.
But apparently she's doing well, and people know who she is. Anyway, long story short, so he also does this director, producer, writer guy, films motion capture for 2K, which makes NBA 2K. Oh. And basically a bunch of actors wear those suits, and he directs them to do dunks and stuff. So I was talking about VR and AR, and he was like, "Oh, we all laugh at it." He's like, "In LA, no one believes, especially in VR." He's like, "AR maybe," because here I'm thinking "Oh my God, it's going to revolutionize your industry. Everyone's going to want these fully immersive movies, and what are you doing?" And he just like, "No, none of that's going to happen." It's none of it at all.
This is what we talk about. If you guys are still watching, I don't know why you are, but this is pretty much our lives. This is what we do. We just talk about geeky things, quirky things.
I want to wear this on my face and walk around, and then Lord of the Rings is happening, or Star Wars, right? You are really just Han Solo right now. You would be way better if you were Han Solo.
A really cool thing that we did. So I went, at HeroConf London last week. And
yes, Han Solo.
Your friend Michael Ackerman was there.
He runs the ads API at Pinterest.
He was doing a presentation, and so he had us all open up our Pinterest app, so everyone that had it, and we all went to Lens, and we all used it during his session, and it was actually a lot of fun.
So what does the Pinterest Lens do? Oh, you're doing it right now. I'm
not going to find anything.
It's a picture of my hand.
What? Paul Walker.
From a picture of my hand, it thinks I'm Paul Walker, and my name is Paul Wicker.
So I just took a picture of Paul, and this is what it came up with.
Really, my hand. So
it did pretty well. So people in gray with hands,
Right.
and then different versions of it. But hey,
yeah. So that's not AR at all. That's image search and machine learning, but that's okay.
But yeah, it's but you can use like the lens, right? And so you can you can use your phone to kind of find things and do things.
Right,
Yeah,
that's
it's
true.
still different.
It is combining the physical world with the digital world.
That's where I was going.
Right.
Thank you.
That's profound. Thank you for bringing that up. That's another episode of PPC Headlines. Thanks for joining. Enjoy your week.
We'll see you guys.